he clearly beat this dude hands down. He put him on his ass, and this referee, Gloria Martinez Rizzo, has been found out now that she has a racism issue.
Brawlers, baby.
It's your boy Rick Muhammad, Brawler Sports Media in the building. Hey, it's the Brawler Sports Boxing Show. As you guys know, I just shared live on Facebook the press conference for the change of opponents for Manny Pacquiao on August 21st at T-Mobile Arena. He's now taking on your Dennis Nugas for that. And Earl Spence has been pulled from the fight due to a torn retina in his eye. Also, my sidekick is with me here today, none other than Giovanni, a.k.a. G Money in the building. And, hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. Let's just talk about it, G. Boxing is getting more and more crookery is going on, and trickery and effery.
Yeah.
And they robbed my man, the Professor Mike Fox, from the DMV area this past weekend against Maestris. And he clearly beat this dude hands down. He put him on his ass. And this referee, Gloria Martinez Rizzo, has been found out now that she has a racism issue, partiality in racism. And so now, I mean, I feel like the referees, not the referee, but the commission need to make this wrong or right. Give that man his W. He don't need to fight Matrix again. He needs his W, and we need to keep it moving. If we're going to start making corrections and cleaning up boxing, now would be a better time than this past weekend's fight. What you think?
Yeah, man, I think there's two easy fix for this particular fight. What needs to happen is they need to give Mykal Fox his victory. They need to overturn the decision clearly. And that judge needs to be fired and never referee a fight again, or judge a fight again.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that. We got to clean up boxing. And see, we keep saying this, and the people who have the positions in their hierarchy, if you will, they have the authority to make it right. Good example. May not be the most favorite fighter that comes out of a lot of people's mouths, but I'm using this as an example of how this happened on this particular night. Montel Griffin, Roy Jones Jr., first fight. Montel Griffin definitely frustrated the hell out of Roy Jones Jr. to be a 5'7" guy by nature, by birth, a southpaw, but he fought conventional. He gave Roy Jones a lot of problems. That was probably Roy's first fight where somebody actually touched him up. And he had a mouse on his right eye from all the left hooks he was taking from Montel Griffin. Round 9, he hits Montel Griffin in the back of the head. You know, if you don't know how that works, your brain shifts laterally side to side. You get discombobulated. Montel Griffin, being the smart fighter that he was, he took a knee, take the 8 count, clear your head. It's almost the end of the round. And you come back, get ready for round 10. That happened. He took a knee. Clearly, Roy Jones seen the man on his knees looking up at him. Roy's looking downward on him. Don't hit him once, but hits him twice. And then Montel Griffin, falls down, and the referee waves the fight because he couldn't continue, blah, blah, blah. However, Larry Hazard, being the real commission that he is, he told the referee in the ring, and you can play this back, either you disqualify Roy or I'm going to overturn your decision and I'll disqualify him. Hands down. That's how it should have been done for Mike Fox.
Yeah, I agree.
Just using that as an example. They have the positions and the titles. That's why you're the lead commissioner. You're the commissioner. You set the rules for that state's commission policy for these athletes, and you got to take charge and make it right, because these are things that wears down a fighter's self-esteem. Some of them say, you know what, the hell with boxing, I don't want to fight anymore. For what? Who's protecting us when it's clearly a wrong?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds good, but unfortunately, the history of boxing is so corrupt, man. It's never going to be clean, I don't think. It'll never get clean. You're going to always get these bad decisions here and there, just plain point-blank robberies. I mean, yeah, man, I just don't know where we go from here with boxing. it's a big black eye for us for the
And the
sport.
fans have to swallow it, and the fighters are really the ones who have to swallow it.
Like
The
Michael
fans,
Fox,
you
I
know, they're
mean,
learning boxing and they see this.
he trained hard for this fight. They all
Yeah.
fighters train hard for their fight, so he got that taken away from him. I'm sure he probably, had his camp away from his family, just training hard, working hard, and then to go out and put on an excellent performance like that, and then get it taken away from you in the worst kind of way. He probably has certain feelings about boxing right now. Like, man, what's the point?
I know Mike Fox personally. He's a DMV fighter, DC, Maryland, Virginia. He's from the Maryland area. I know him personally. I've interviewed him on multiple occasions. He's a stand-up, solid dude, a great human being outside of that ring, as well as he is a great athlete inside of that ring. A very humble cat. And I already know that what it did for him, it probably was a crushing blow that delivered that to him, man. So, Mike Fox, hey, Professor, keep your head up, baby. We know what you do. And fans saw what you did on this night. And, hey, we all know. But hopefully your people file an appeal with the commission requesting that they reverse the ruling of this fight from a loss to a W. And that's it for that. We might as well get on and get off of this particular subject right now because who are we? We're not going to change anything. We can talk till we turn blue.
Right.
So let's keep it moving right now. As you all know, another black eye in boxing, another very disappointing, upsetting moment in boxing now that Errol Spence has been pulled from the fight. He is not fighting the 8-time divisional world champion, Manny the Legend, Pac-Man Pacquiao, next Saturday night, August 21st at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas due to a torn retina that he's sustained during training camp, if you will. Unfortunately, that has happened. They have a replacement opponent, your Dennis Hughes, a very good fighter. Of course, not the fight all the fans got geeked up and hyped up to see because we was expecting, the legendary Manny Pacquiao to fight Earl the Truth Spence on this night. And a great night of boxing it would have been for boxing. That being said, that is the replacement. That's where we are now. And I felt like they just ruined a great ending of a great summer in boxing. Unfortunately, of course, we wish Earl Spence and his team a speedy recovery and that he has a great surgery, if you will. But I'm disappointed, and this is where we are come next Saturday night. Now, do you charge pay-per-view for this fight? Of course, fans will pay to see Manny Pacquiao regardless of who he fights. But is it going to be having the same price tag, the likes of a Spence versus Pacquiao at what was it, $79, $89? Or do they downplay the price now to make it more fair to the fans since they have a different opponent?
Yeah, I was just about to touch on that. I was going to ask the same question you just did, and I don't think that they will drop the price. I think it'll stay $75, which is crazy to me because I won't be purchasing it, if it's $75. So it should drop and by a lot. I think it should be like a $49.99 type of fight because Ugas is no pay-per-view draw at all.
Let's make it $39.
Yeah, or free.
Well, let me ask you this, because you boxed, and we've been in boxing for a while as a family, as a team. You trained for one particular fighter, a southpaw, which Earl Spence was. That's the kind of fighters that Freddie Roach and Pacquiao's team are supposed to bring in, sparring partners wise, aggressive southpaws, like somewhat tailor-made to Spence's style, if you will, because we all know styles make fights.
Yeah.
That being said, is this something mental for a fighter, but maybe not for the likes of somebody like Manny Pacquiao, because he's been doing it so long, I don't think it really matters to him who he's going to be facing now. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. I think at this level, if you're a Manny Pacquiao, I wouldn't look too far into it, But if you're an up-and-coming fighter, or even if you're a champion, but not an icon legend who's been around the sport for 20-plus years, So for Manny, I don't think it's going to affect him that much. But, I mean, he has been training this whole camp for a southpaw, even though he fights orthodox fighters all his career. When you're training for something, and you're preparing for something, that can kind of, throw you off a little bit when you have a 2-week notice and a complete opponent change of style and stance. So
Absolutely.
I think it's a good fight. I just pay-per-view and all that. It's not what the Spence Pacquiao fight was going to be, of course, but I think it'll be a competitive fight because Ugas is a good fighter. And a lot of people feel he beat Sean Porter a couple years ago, and I just think stylistically it might be challenging for Manny in the beginning few rounds.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I don't think there's gonna be much of a difference for him either. He's a professional. He can make adapt. He can adapt and adjust just like he would in the fight. If it was Earl Spence, you got to make those on the spot corrections. I don't think it's gonna matter. I think Manny is the world champion and the 8-time divisional world champ that he is for a reason. The legend and the title that he has for a reason. And I think he'll go in there and still get the job done and do exactly what he would have done against Earl Spence. We can only hope for a good fight. That's what I'm hoping for. Since it's all in it, I wonder, did they contemplate canceling fighting altogether and let's wait on Spence? But he's been out of the ring for 25 months. So if I'm him, I'm like, hey, who are you going to put in front of me? Let's do it. I want to get this ring rust off. I haven't fought since I beat Keith Thurman. Let's keep it moving. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Now, what are we facing if he wins and he beats you, Dennis Dugas? Spence is going to come back, no doubt, but he's going to want a tune-up fight to make sure the eye and the surgery went well. So that's going to be another 4 to 6 months delayed going into 2022. And then do we see Pacquiao beat Bud Crawford? Or let's get my man, hey, Jawan Boots Ennis. Hey, come on, man. We got a lot of good fights we still want to make. They don't necessarily have to be Spence and Pac-Man. Let's do Pac-Man and Boots. You know what I mean? Pac-Man and Bud.
Yeah, Pac-Man and Bud. I mean, I think that makes sense, being like we don't know how long Spence is going to be out for. But yeah, I would like to see that if Pacquiao is victorious versus Ugas. That would make a lot of sense.
Or if Ugas is victorious, if Ugas is victorious, let him fight Jaron Boots Ennis or Bud Crawford.
Yeah, you see, now that I think that makes more sense, but I don't think Boots Ennis, he's not with Al Heyman, is he?
No. He fights on PBC shows, but he's not a PBC fighter per se.
Unfortunately, he won't get none of those fights.
I think you're right.
I mean, the only way he's getting those fights is if he signs to Al,
Right. We don't need to go in depth. Why? I think most boxing fans by now get the picture.
Yeah, so those fights won't happen for Boots, unfortunately, no time soon. He'll have to put himself in position to get those fights. He'll have to be somebody's mandatory. That's the only way. I see. But if Pacquiao's victorious, I personally think he's gonna wait for Spence. And that's if he might not want to fight no more after this fight. He might say forget it.
It's funny you said that. I was just on the press conference and you have the little icon symbol on those Zoom calls to raise your hand, and the mediator selects you however, whatever order you in, which I think that a lot of them are unfair with how they select who gets to ask the questions. And that was going to be my question to him. How much more of Manny Pacquiao can the world expect to see in the sport of boxing? Out of all the accolades and successes that boxing has brought him and his family, win or lose, if you win against your Dennis Ugas, what's next? Is it a possible Manny Bud? Boots Ennis? What and how much longer do we have you for in this great sport of boxing? That's what I was going to ask him. And I would have been intrigued to find out what his answer was going to be. Because I personally think in the next 2 years, Manny's gone, if not sooner. And it looks like G Money froze up. If you're having issues, G Money, go ahead and log out and log back in, man. But that was going to be my question, viewers. How much more of Manny Pacquiao do we have moving forward as he's 42 years old? He was 40. He was the oldest fighter that beat Keith Thurman just recently, 25 months ago. And if he wins against your Dennis Ugas, he'll break his own record and be the oldest to beat your Dennis at 42. So he's still making history. Just how much more history do we get to see of him? Giovanni probably going to log back in here in a minute. I don't want to go too far ahead of him. But going into this weekend, we have a good card coming up on ESPN, Top Rank Boxing, the trilogy of Andrew Maloney and the Franco fight. As you all know, was that 5 months ago we had the controversy of him hitting Franco in the eye with a jab, clearly, after they took 30 minutes to review this fight over and over and over again from every angle you could catch from the ring with the professional photographers and that production team on ESPN Plus. You saw that this was clearly a jab that caused the cut and the shutting of the eye of Franco. After 30 minutes of review, lengthy review, then they come back and call it a no contest because they felt like it was a headbutt. And for those of you who don't understand the sport and the rules in boxing, handbook says if you don't have 4 completed rounds of boxing in the books, you can't go to the scorecard. That would be a no contest. Once you have 4 completed rounds, then you can go to the judges' scorecards. So by them saying they ruled this as like a headbutt that caused an eye injury, then that's how they come up with the no contest, which was bull. Because everybody know Andrew Maloney clearly, hands down, won this fight. No problem. And G Money is back in the building. I'm just touching on, I moved on and I'm touching on Andrew Maloney. Clearly beat Franco with a jab, and that should have been a TKO. He closed his eyes shut. They did every angle they could, G, for 30 minutes. It clearly showed a left jab, punched him in his eye, yet they called it a no contest because we only had 2 rounds in the book. And for boxing fans who don't understand the rules of boxing, you must have 4 completed rounds of boxing to go to the scorecards. So by calling it a no contest in just the second round, rules no one the winner. Franco moves on with Maloney's belt that he took from him in their first meet, and they robbed Maloney from getting his rematch and redeeming himself, getting his strap back. So now we have the third fight, the trilogy coming up. How do you see that fight panning out? If you're Maloney, are you mad as hell and you coming back with a vengeance?
No, he is. And if I was Maloney, I'd pick up just where I left off. Don't change a thing. Fight exactly how you were fighting in the second fight, before it got stopped with all that, controversy. Just pick up where you left off. And if he does that, he's going to win a clear, clean, unanimous decision. And if not, a late stoppage. That's what I see.
And I'm sure him thinking, of course, you never go looking for the knockout. You always say, if my opponent cooperates, then I'll retire him. But I'm sure at some point, as he's sitting on his punches, he's thinking knockout, and he's going to be punching to go for that knockout. He wants the one punch to hurt him so he can finish it.
I mean, I would lean. If I had to pick how it would go, I would say a clear, unanimous decision. But I won't be surprised if we see like a referee stoppage in the late rounds. But I think it'll go 12 rounds and he'll win.
Wouldn't that be a good proposition bet that the fight gets stopped with a TKO from a jab to the left to the right eye again?
Yeah. There's value in that for sure. Yeah. But,
make that a proposition bet. The fight gets stopped from a jab.
Yeah, right. It's good value. Maloney is a minus 180, so I would have liked the odds to be a little closer. But I mean, I don't see him losing that fight. So if you're a betting person, go bet on Maloney.
Good. That's a good analogy. So we have also on that card. Go ahead and speak on the Rigondeaux fight. Since you checked out briefly, I'll let you cover that, G.
Yeah, on Fox. So Jason Maloney versus Franco, that's going to be on ESPN.
Right.
And then you got Guillermo Rigondeaux versus Casemiro on Fox on Saturday as well.
Who do you like?
A really big fight as well. 100. Man, they have Casemiro is the favorite. Very surprising to me. That's very surprising because I think Rigondeaux is going to take him to school. Rigondeaux for me is one of my favorite fighters of all time. He's one of the smoothest fighters I've ever seen. And I think he gets a bad rap for the Lomachenko fight. But aside from that fight, he did move up 2 weight classes. No excuses, but he moved up 2 weight classes from 122 to 130. And but he's got some of the best skills you'll ever see. And he's fighting at his weight class, and he's strong at 118, and I think he's going to put on the clinic, and I could see him also winning by late knockout.
Okay. And then we also got we got another great fight coming up on. We got Virgil Ortiz fighting that night as well. Kaliakis.
Yeah, versus
I think I'm pronouncing it.
Kavaliauskas, the guy who fought Terrence Crawford.
Yeah.
Gave Crawford a very tough fight.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think this is a really tough fight for Virgil Ortiz.
He rocked
I mean,
if I can reframe
hey,
that.
when I say a really tough fight, I mean they got Virgil Ortiz at minus 2,000 for the odds on this fight, meaning you have to bet $2,000 to win $100 on Ortiz. That's
But they really
insane to
think
me.
he's a favorite. They got him as a big favorite.
And he's a favorite, but that's insane to me because Kavaliauskas is a live dog. This is his first step-up fight, really. You know?
I know you're betting on Kavaliauskas.
I probably won't bet on him, but if I did, that's where the value's at. If I were to bet on that fight, I would have to put a little something on Kavaliauskas. Do I think he'll win? I mean, I think Ortiz should win the fight, but I think it's a dangerous fight because Kavaliauskas got power too.
Yeah, and with these young, like I said in a lot of our interviews, I love these young Thundercats, man. These young boys is bringing the heat. Back in the day, in the old era of boxing, and a lot of the viewers out there have been around for a minute, boxing fans, you know boxing well enough to know back in that era, before a fighter got a shot at a title, he had to have damn near 20, 22, 25, damn near 30 wins to get a shot at a title. Now these cats are coming in at 10, 12, 14 fights. And they're getting big title shots. And, Teofimo started it off when he called out Lomachenko. And they delivered. You got, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Tank. All these guys are delivering, man. So, I mean, hey, I believe in Virgil Ortiz. I met him personally. Cool dude. He's trains right there with Robert Garcia at the ranch. Mm-hmm. And, man, I think Virgil is the truth. And I think he's gonna make it look. I don't think he's gonna have a whole bunch of problems. I don't think this fight is gonna be as hard as you may think it is. But you never underestimate because this is boxing.
That's possible.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen in boxing.
Yeah, I just think like this is definitely a step up for him. In his career.
And it's a good step too. It's a good step.
It is. This is the kind of fight that he needs to get him ready for a champion. Because there's a lot of talk of him fighting Crawford in the future. This is a good step in that direction,
And he's been called out Crawford. So, like I said, these young guys, they're like, hey, I don't want to bypass anybody. I want the best of the best. That's the only way I can be the best is to fight the best. Yeah. And I love that mentality that they're coming to the ring with. It's like, and everybody's like, oh, he's not ready for that because we're thinking old boxing days. He's not ready yet. He's still green. Right. If his handlers think he's ready, he looks ready. He says he's ready. Man, you ain't gonna stop him. Go in.
Yeah. And at some point, if you keep saying they're not ready, they'll never be ready. Everybody wasn't ready at some point. You got to take that chance.
And that the guys that keep saying they're not ready is the ones who don't want their O to go. And you'll never be ready, and you'll never be considered to be the best because you're afraid to fight the best because you're afraid of losing. And losing is okay. The greatest have done it. Muhammad Ali, Oscar. Shane Mosley, Trinidad, all those guys, legends, Frazier, all these guys, Sugar Ray Leonard, they all lost, but they come back. They live to fight another day. And they come back more fierce than ever, and they redeem themselves. It's okay to lose. It's okay to lose.
It is. Yeah, that's part of boxing.
Part of the game. But if you hiding because you don't want to lose, and you're taking garbage mandatories, or you're giving people step over money, come on, man. Don't ruin this sport. Other than baseball, boxing and baseball are the two greatest American sports ever. Baseball first, boxing second.
Unfortunately, in this day and age, though, boxing doesn't get that recognition. And that's how it used to be. But now boxing is probably the least talked about sport in America, I would say. Would you agree with that at this point?
Yeah.
Boxing is not a big deal.
Until there's a big fight listed. Other than that, it's not a lot of
Because honestly, let's be honest. Since Mayweather Pacquiao, since that fight,
Is there still a lot of barbershop? Is there still a lot of boxing talk going on? Is barbershop talk? Like when you go to the barber, is that ever a topic that somebody just came out of the blue start talking about boxing or a certain fighter, era, Mike Tyson, Ali, Floyd? I mean, what do you hear this
Not
in the
since
barbershop?
not since I've been to the barbershop, no. But it was, but no.
And you know, when I go to the shop, that's all I talk about.
Yeah,
And then
because that's what
whoever's
we
in there,
do.
I get them fired
So
up.
yeah, but unfortunately, I think yeah, like I was saying, since Mayweather Pacquiao, that was like world recognition, and that was the big fight everybody was tuning into. But I mean, that's because it's two iconic fighters and iconic figures, so they're gonna make
Yeah.
a big splash on the world. But as of now, I mean, we don't really get that in boxing, which is unfortunate.
Now, before we wrap things up, and I don't want to jinx nothing, but man, boxing in the month of July, we've had a whole lot of disappointing cancellations. Oh, this fighter caught COVID. This fighter got this. This fighter's got that. I am damn sick of it. And I'm gonna just say it.
Yeah.
We've moved Wilder Fury trilogy to October 9th, T-Mobile in Las Vegas. Now, Fury just had a newborn baby. Congratulations, champ. Premature baby, if you will. Of course, he has to be concerned about the health and welfare of his family, his wife, and the baby, the newborn. Now I can see maybe that fight getting pushed back, and Fury just saying, "Hey, you know what? Mentally, I'm not into the trilogy fight that's coming up. I'm focused on my wife healing properly, the baby, getting out of the incubator and developing properly, and going through all their tests, and so what, and so have you." And so now I feel like in the weeks to come, we're going to get another hit in the head. We're going to get thumped upside the head, and we're going to say, "Hey, we're not going to have the trilogy of Wilder Fury to early 2022." And then you'll also possibly maybe get your Pacquiao Spence fight somewhere in there as well. I just got that feeling that the trilogy of Wilder Fury will not take place October 9th. And I'm going to be the first one to say it.
And I was just thinking, the way this year's going or this summer, for any big fight that's announced or any big fight that's scheduled moving forward, I won't believe the fight's happening until the night of the fight and I see the fighters in the ring. Period. So whether Canelo versus Plant gets made for November, like they're talking about, I won't believe it until I see him in the ring. And I won't believe Wilder Fury until they're in the ring.
I'm glad you brought that Plant and Canelo fight up. Canelo will not be fighting on his normal Cinco de Mayo September date. That's been flushed. That's no more.
Yeah.
As far as Caleb Plant did say something to the effect that there is still hope for this fight to be made. I guess whatever it was in his contract that wasn't offered or wasn't agreed upon in the early stages, it's now redeveloped, and there's a possibility that may be considered, which may keep the hopes of this fight happening alive. I don't know exactly what part of it that they're considering. That before he said no go, no deal. But I mean, I don't blame Caleb Plant. If it's a money issue, so be it. Everybody else is whining and hollering money and pay-per-view, they better pay me to get your money, man. Hell, there's life after boxing, and if you don't settle up with your family right now, so when you're done with boxing, that you're comfortable, you don't have to go being a Walmart greeter. Thank you for welcome to Walmart and doing all those silly jobs. Get his money because Danny Jacobs got $12 million to fight Canelo, and I don't know where they are in terms of numbers, how close of that they offered Caleb. I want to say $10 million, but I mean the money's there because if you guys can pay Canelo $40 million a fight, and that's even including mediocre fighters because his contract with the Zone says that's what he gonna make. Then hell, I don't blame Caleb if he say, I'll take $15 million.
No, for sure. If he's getting $40 million, I mean, you could give me $15 million.
40% is really a 60-40. The old school boxing terminology, a manager like myself, I would say if I'm Caleb's manager, you're going to give him 40, we want 16. That's 40% of his 60.
Yeah, because if you're Caleb, you're like, I got what you need. I got what you're looking for. You're looking for that last belt to be completed. Well, you got to go through me to get it. So he has some argument in what he gets paid.
And just
I got
like
the last belt.
good example on the purse bid for well, it wasn't no purse bid. Floyd called his own shots. They came up with a $200 million price tag, 60-40. Floyd got 120 million. That's 60% of 200. Manny got 80 million. That's 40% of 200. That's how it goes. And anything over and in between there, that's renegotiating there. So
But I
that's
mean,
why
Canelo is the cash cow, and he's
no
the
doubt.
face of boxing. So it's Caleb Plant. It's hard for him to really
Yeah, but is it gonna
make demands. But
it ain't gonna kill neither side to agree to give Caleb 16 million if you offer him 10, and you're gonna get so much more, both of them on the back end of pay-per-view. Canelo, you could give him 6 million more out of your pocket.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm gonna go on record and say I'm rocking with Caleb Plant. I think he's gonna win, and I'm on record saying it. I got Caleb Plant if that fight gets made.
Unanimous or stoppage? Because ain't nobody stopped Canelo yet.
No. That fight, I mean, Caleb's not stopping Canelo, but it won't be a unanimous. I think he'll win a split, a majority. Even if it is unanimous, it's impossible for them to give him a unanimous decision fighting Canelo.
I'm gonna ask you this: if he gonna win it, tell me what network he gonna win it on. Because Canelo's with DAZN, Plant is with PBC Showtime.
No, that fight is they're talking Fox. That's the negotiations is for the fight to be made on Fox.
And I'm sure Canelo gonna make sure that the judging is properly selected.
And it's gonna be hard. Like I think that Caleb's gonna win. In our eyes, we're gonna be like, yeah, he outboxed Canelo.
I can tell you right now, if that fight's close, it's gonna be a draw. It's gonna be a draw. So they don't insult Canelo and give him an L, and they don't give Caleb an L, and they say, hey, you know what? We're gonna do a rematch and make some more money.
Nah, if it's close, it's going to Canelo, no doubt. If it's close,
don't say that because it wasn't close this past weekend when Michael Fox destroyed Maestros, and they gave it to the other guy.
No, that's different though because Maestros and Michael Fox aren't no Canelo.
They're not. I'm using it as an example about, once again, boxing. I don't care what their superstar status is, boxing.
Yes, but if anything, I think the corruption in that fight would be against Caleb Plant. We've seen Canelo. Canelo got a majority decision loss to Floyd Mayweather, and he lost every round. So he's a hard man to beat.
Exactly, and that's why I'm trying to tell you what makes you think they're gonna get Caleb a W. They'll do a draw before they do anything.
No. What I'm saying is, you said if it's close, you could see it being a draw. I'm saying if it's close, it's not going to be a draw. It's going to go to Canelo.
Ah, okay.
Because he gets I'm saying if anything, Canelo is going to get the nod.
That would be another black eye to boxing too.
Yeah. I thought so.
That's the example. Thank you. I'm trying to use that example. You just reversed it because I didn't hear you the first time.
Okay.
But clearly, if it's close, you're saying it's Canelo.
For sure.
It's kind of hard to say because now if you're saying this fight is going to be drawn to Fox Sports, that's Al Heyman's network.
Right.
Caleb is Al Heyman's fighter. Canelo has no connection with Fox. The only thing he would have here is a good, maybe referee in his favor and a judge or two, at least one judge. Because if one judge keeps it close and makes it a draw, that'll balance out the scorecard right there. And the rest of them just follow suit.
But my question with you is, we know Canelo's the complete A side, right?
Totally.
I'm pretty sure Canelo's gonna have in this contract, I have a say in the judges, I have a say in the referee. Like he's controlling everything. The only thing Caleb has control of is, can I get that 10 million?
In the network.
Network. Al Heyman's like, okay, we're gonna do it on Fox since it's pay-per-view. You'll make more money on the back end rather than fighting on DAZN. And then let Caleb get 10 million. That's all we want.
And if I'm Caleb Plant's people and Al Heyman is a smart businessman, I guarantee you there will be a rematch clause in his contract. And they're gonna be like the old school movie in the 70s. Let's do it again. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it again.
It would be smart to do that. But I don't think Canelo's going for it, man. Canelo's got the control over negotiations. If Canelo says no rematch, then hey, Caleb, are you going to do the fight or not?
I wish Canelo would stop this damn catch weight.
Me too.
Stop this catch weight shit. That's why now he don't want to fight Bivol.
I know, because he don't want to fight him at 75.
Bivol told him, no, I'm a 75. If you come to 75, you talking smack, you want me, you come to my weight class.
You know,
I'm not meeting you at 60, 68, 65.
I've been feeling different about Canelo, man. When I think about it, I'm like, who has he really been fighting in the past? He's not, I mean, I don't know. Like, if you fought Bivol, that would be a good fight at 75, but you're trying to fight him at 169, 170.
Didn't he fight Kovalov at a catchweight as well?
I don't remember.
I don't think they fought at a full 75. But anyway, we touched on quite a bit of boxing. We've spoken about corrupt boxing, Mykal Fox, the professor. We've spoken about the trilogy of Maloney versus Franco this weekend. We've talked about Ortiz, Rigondeaux. We've talked about Spence Pacquiao, and then we talked about the bad luck of all the fights getting stopped, and paraphrasing everything that we have talked about, ending with possible Fury Wilder not happening until next year. And now we just touched on Caleb Plant and Canelo. So not a bad show. We got 35 minutes of footage here. We covered a lot. I mean, hey, boxing is what it is, and we'll see what happens this weekend. How everybody does. We'll definitely be watching Ortiz as his big first test fight, as you say, and it most likely is, no doubt, hands down. I definitely am dying to see my man Maloney, and we're definitely going to get him back on the show. Hopefully, we can link up with him after he gets that victory this Saturday night and get him on the Brawlers Sports Boxing Show come next Tuesday or Wednesday, side by side with us, and let him get on there and talk some trash, and then that's it for now. You got anything else to add, G, before we get out of here?
No, we touched on pretty much everything up and coming.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. For those of you who do follow us and view us, hey, if you haven't been a YouTube subscriber, definitely go to our YouTube channel, Brawler Sports Media. Hit subscribe, set that alarm so you can get those alerts whenever our new content is going up. And definitely hit like on Facebook. If you're watching this, hit the like button. Y'all got to help uplift and build us just like you're doing all the other colleagues of mine out there. You hit the likes. That's how we get rated when we're tapped to go to these fights and cover them. And I do everybody on here a justice, I believe, when I'm out covering fights. So if you like the content I'm putting down, I love having y'all with me. So love me back. Hit the like. And remember, we still got a hell of a pandemic going on. Now we got this Delta variant. If you're vaccinated, unvaccinated, it does not matter. Wear your mask. Keep practicing social distancing and keep your hands clean. All the things we did to stay alive, healthy, and well when this hit last March, don't stop doing that. Keep doing it. Let's stay safe, y'all, so we can stay alive, all right? Until next time, it's your boy Rick Muhammad, Brawler Sports Media in the building. My son, my sidekick, G Money. Hey, till next time. Let's go, champs.
Brawlers, baby. Brawlers.